how to correct your 2020 W-4 using the IRS tax withholding estimator. Hello, you got Mr.
and Mrs. Smith.
And in this brief video, we want to show you the simplicity as it relates to filling out your W-4 if you're single with no kids. Comment below if you have another scenario that you'd like us to go over, but for this one, we're going to do single, no kids, using the 2020 W-4 estimator, which we love. So, first question that the IRS likes to know is about you. Select the information that best describes how you anticipate filing your 2020 tax return. So, as we stated, your filing status is single. What filing status will you use for your tax return? Single, as we stated. Can someone else claim you as a dependent on their tax return? For the sake of this example, this is for adults who are claiming themselves, so no one else can claim you on your tax return. Number 2, if you're following along, you already know the answer to this question. We said single, no kids. So do you plan to claim dependents on your tax return? No, I'm single, no kids. Number 3, let's talk about the income, because you know the IRS wants to know what money is coming in, also known as your income. So do you or will you hold a job this year with paychecks from which federal income tax is regularly withheld? So basically that's a W-2. You're not 1099, you're working a job to where they're going to be taking some form of taxes out regularly. So the answer to this question is yes. Now let's break it down. How many jobs do you expect to hold this year? So they allow you to choose an option. And for this example, we decided to just go ahead and choose one job. Most people have one main job or just one job, so we just want to keep it really simple. One job. 4 of 5, pension. Will you receive income from a pension this year? No. You're not ready to retire. You're not receiving any form of a pension. So we'll put no right there. And number 5, because the IRS likes to know what money is coming in, as I stated, do you have other forms of income? In other words, where's your other bags at? Where are you also getting money from? They want to know all of that. But we said you only had one job. This is for a person who doesn't have any separate cash flow coming in from any other area. So we won't initial or check any of those things. But it's just good to know that the IRS wants to know that information. And let's go to the next screen. Now we want to know more about your job.
All right, so do you expect to hold this job the entire year, January 1st to the 31st of December? Yes. Next, it asks, how frequently are you paid? In this example, we're going to do every 2 weeks. And let me read what's up here at the top. It says, enter your income and withholdings for each job and or pension you will earn income from this year. Each job should be entered separately. The order in which you enter them does not matter. The estimator does not support decimals. Round all numbers to the nearest dollar value, okay? So, how frequently are you paid? We're going to do every 2 weeks. On what date did your most recent pay period end, guys? And we're giving you a video at the start of the new year. So let's say you got paid last Friday, the first Friday into the year, January 1st, 2020, you got paid. Enter the total wages you expect to receive. We're going to roll with $45,000. Then it says enter any bonuses, right? The IRS is all in your business. Let's say you haven't received any bonuses. You don't expect to receive any bonuses later this year, okay? Then it asks, using your last pay statement, so you have to have your paycheck in front of you, guys, enter the total federal income taxes withheld. Year to date, because this is your first check, right? We have $432. So, of course, from your last check, it's going to be $432. It's only because we're dealing with one check, okay? So if you've already received 2 checks or 3 checks, those numbers are going to be different, okay? Then it asks, do you or did you or will you contribute to a tax-deferred retirement plan such as a 401k? We're going to say no for this person. Did you or will you contribute to an HSA, FSA, pre-tax child care credit account, or other cafeteria plans? We're going to say no. If you don't know what any of these things are, there's a little question mark. Click that and it will give you an example, okay? It'll explain what they're talking about, and you know if you're paying into these things or not, okay? We're going to put no, and we're going to go to the next step.
Adjustments to income. Most taxpayers don't have a large enough adjustment to have a significant impact on their tax obligation. Do you want to go to the next step without including adjustments, or would you like to see possible adjustments? That's true. Most people don't have a significant enough adjustment, but don't let that deter you, because they don't want you to adjust. They want you to pay as much as taxes as possible. So if it's a chance that you do have some type of adjustments, which we'll get to in a later video, then by all means, see what's there, see what you qualify for, and use it, because it helps you save tax dollars. But for the sake of this example, we're going to do just as they suggested subconsciously and go to the next step. Deductions from income. You qualify for a standard deduction of $12,400. So just you being single with no kids, you automatically qualify for a standard deduction of $12,400. So what they're wondering is, do you want to go with that standard deduction, or do you want to itemize? So it says deductions reduce the amount of income subject to income tax. Most taxpayers take the standard deduction. Would you like to take the standard deduction or itemize your deduction? Now, there's always a question here if you need to get help on anything, but basically it's usually a nice amount of deductions that you have to have in order to make it worth it. So if your standard deduction is $12,400, then your itemized deductions had better be higher than that if you even want to consider using it. But for the sake of this example and simplicity, we're going to take the standard deduction as provided. Next up, tax credit.
All right, it asks, tax credits are amounts you subtract directly from your tax obligation. Would you like to learn more about tax credits you may be eligible for, or get your results without tax credits? In this example, we're going to do get my results without tax credits. But guys, we have a lot of educating to do, okay? So stay tuned for a lot of other videos. Hit next, and here are your results. Now, this blew me away when I first saw it, okay? Because basically what it's saying is your expected tax withholding. Well, let me read from the very beginning. If you do not change your withholdings, you are likely to get a refund. Expected tax withholdings is $11,232, but your anticipated tax obligation is only $3,718. So guys, this is an example of what we preach and what we teach about all of the time. You're overpaying in taxes all year long. In this example, the estimated overpayment is $7,514. So that's what their refund, that's an estimate of what it would be. Overpaying in taxes, $7,514 for the entire 2020. Now, we can give you our opinion, but I'll let Marcus take it away.
We just like to give you options, because
yes,
we understand that some people swear by their tax refund.
Yes.
And to a degree, I get it, because if you know yourself and you know you're not disciplined, you're not going to be able to do the right things month after month after month throughout the year so you can maximize your income, then maybe the refund is better for you. You might be better off waiting until the next year, getting a lump sum of money, in this case $7,500, and doing something major with that money, such as investing, hopefully, or turning it into some type of asset, hopefully. But you have the option. But understand this, the IRS, shout out to the IRS, they're the GOAT for this calculator, and also giving you the results of exactly what to expect. Because what this lets you know is that throughout the year you paid $11,000, but that's an overpayment of $7,000. So if you scroll down, we have some even better news, or something for you to consider looking into.
Yeah, and you guys, you know, like you said, some people, they swear by their refunds. They want that refund because they know themselves. But then how I feel on the flip side is, if you're struggling all year long, if you're barely making ends meet, if you're, you know, complaining about the amount of taxes coming out, if you're being hit on a regular basis with late fees and disconnection and reconnection and overdraft fees all of the time, look at the overpayment of $7,514, right? So we can go both ways with it. Don't put yourself in a bind, okay? So let's show you the good thing. Because again, the IRS was the GOAT for this, and it's crazy that we're even saying that, right? Because we look at the IRS as the bad guys, as they just want to know all of our business, they want to tax every dollar, but this calculator is the truth. Wait till you see this.
So, they ask you, happy with your results? Then you don't need to do anything, meaning that if you're happy with whatever tax amount you're paying, don't do anything. You're good to go. You want to adjust your results, meaning that, hold on, I don't want to overpay $7,000, even if that means I get a refund a year from now in the amount of $7,000. I don't want that. So they're saying, if you want to adjust your results, use the slider below to select the approximate refund amount you'd like to get. This is powerful.
What?
Because a lot of times, the main reason people are fearful, terrified of adjusting and correcting their W-4 is because they don't want to owe at the end of the year. But if they got a glimpse of what the possibility is, such as they do now, then that'll give them a more level of comfort. Like, oh, I would get this, but you know what? I can adjust it a little bit so I'm not overpaying too much, but I still get a refund. Some people are okay with that. Some people are like, nah, I don't want to pay them anything. I don't have to, so I want to break even, which is what Ms. Smith was saying. Look, if you can get that money throughout the year to minimize your struggle or eliminate it altogether, then enjoy it right now. You earned it, you work for it, get it now, and do good things with it. Tighten up your discipline. So what it does is give you a slider and lets you choose about how much you want in a refund. So I'm just going to play with it just as an example. Let's say that you like, okay, I want $4,400 in the form of a refund. Then you would adjust it accordingly. So it would say to get your desired refund amount, you will need $302 withheld from each paycheck, which is $130 less than your current tax withholding. So how to adjust your withholding? If that's the choice that you make, they even tell you, step 1, complete a new W-4 online via paper as follows. Check your personal information. Check and make sure your personal information is correct. Select single, Enter $159 in additional withholding per pay period. So they're telling you what you need to do in order to make that happen. And then they say submit new information to your employer as soon as possible. You can even download a pre-filled W-4 to where it does all of the things that you put into the calculator for you, and now you print it out and you hand it in to your employer. How cool is that? You already know what to expect, and now they're showing you what you need to do if you want this refund of $4,400, and here's a link for you to download your results. Now turn that into your employer. So you can adjust this all the way from getting the biggest refund or just breaking even with the IRS. And basically this says to get your desired refund amount, you will need $119 withheld from each paycheck, which is $313 less. So basically, instead of you paying $400 plus every time you get paid to the federal income tax, you'll instead be paying $119, which gives you about $300 in extra cash flow. So you're giving yourself a $300 pay raise anytime you decide that you want to just break even with the government, the IRS. And now every single month you get an extra $300. $300 times 12 is $3,600. So you get an extra $3,000 throughout the year that you wouldn't have been given, and you're not overpaying in taxes from that standpoint. Plus, you're able to do something with that money throughout the year. So the option is yours, and you still have that same ability to download the filled out form, print it out, and pass it into your employer. So when we noticed this, and we saw this adjuster right here, it was like a mind blower, because not only did it allow people to see what they would get, but it allows people to have a little control over their tax liability from the standpoint of how much do you want to get throughout the year? How much do you want in a refund? Do you want to refund it all? And now you have some power. So it's what you do with the power that's the most powerful. So the IRS, we salute them. But it's calculator, we love it. You know, and I hope you got some value from the video. You got some other nuggets you want to
I mean, at the end of the day, guys, we just want you to do great things. You know, if you know anything about us, if you've been following us, we want you to achieve financial freedom. And, you know, I was telling Marcus earlier, if a person decides to get a refund and, you know, let's say they're getting that $7,000 refund, you really could come up off of refunds. You really could do some great things. You can have assets. You can easily become debt free. You can, you can do all types of things, okay? You can pay off things. You can have a fat savings. You can travel. You can do nice things for your family. So it's all about making good decisions, okay? So that's another area where we come in, is we just really show you how to do great things with the potential refund that you're getting, and all year long, how to make smart financial decisions.
I love it, because that extra cash flow can be the deciding factor on you being debt free this year. You having 750 or 800 credit this year. You becoming an investor this year, and now you're growing that money throughout the year versus let it sit in the hands of the IRS, and now your money is making money, not making someone else money. So it's power in understanding the reason why we strongly encourage people to get their money, because we know that money could be growing, that money could be being invested in yourself, in a business, and we strongly encourage a person to have a home-based business if they do not, because that also lowers your tax liability. So if a person filled out this W-4 and they made no adjustments and they were going to get a $7,000 refund, if they had a home-based business plus some tax deductions, that $7,000 refund might jump to $10,000 of a refund, because the tax deductions made it so that it looks as though they didn't owe the IRS anything, plus the tax incentives gave them an additional boost, possibly even lowering their tax bracket. So that's just something to consider, something to think about. That's where we come in there. So if you see any available links near this video, click on it, check it out. It's just us trying to say, hey, look, we got a solution that we think can fit you, serve you, and do great things for you this year and beyond. And as you can see, I know we didn't go over it, but towards the bottom, it basically gives you a breakdown of everything that you filled in. All of this stuff is laid out, and you're able to save it, print this, start over, whatever you got to do, and it just kind of lets you know what your situation is based on the information that you entered. So shout out to the 2020 W-4. Stay tuned for many more that are going to come. And if you have an exact scenario, regardless of what it is that you would like for us to cover, comment below. We just want to give value all year long. We want to give a ton of value to the people who we feel can benefit the most from it, and then also give some insight of things of how to maximize the opportunity of the W-4, because I look at the W-4 as a wealth form. You use the W-4 to build wealth. If you haven't seen our video, W-4 to Wealth, check it out. And I promise you, you'll see how you can do great things with the additional cash flow that the W-4 brings. You got anything else, Queen?
I don't have anything else, you guys. Hopefully your minds are blown. Your minds, they're working. They're thinking of how successful you really can be this year. All right? So that's all we got. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, signing out.